Homage to Amitabha Buddha in the land of ultimate bliss. Avalokitesvara, great compassion Bodhisattva, Christian Bodhisattva, Astor great vow Bodhisattva, and the assembly of great mercy like Bodhisattva. Please sit down.
Geshe said it's very nice to meet all of you again here and having this opportunity to have discussion on Dharma and his teaching. And I'd like to say good morning and Tashidarik to everybody. Tashidarik means traditional greeting to say, like good luck. Today, Geshe will give teaching about the afflictive emotions, afflictive emotion or negative emotion. He will give kind of introduction of the afflictive emotion, and also he will teach us how they inflict us mentally and physically, and how can we overcome them. So this is the topic of the teaching of this class. Last time we discussed about the nature of the mind. So today the topic is like I mentioned. In the Buddhism or in Buddhist teaching, when we talk about afflictive emotion, we can talk about so many countless afflictive emotions, so many types of afflictive emotions. It's variety of afflictive emotion that arises within our mind. I think you might like this expression. Geshe is saying that afflicting emotion, all these afflicting emotions, especially the attachment, the root afflicting emotions, such as attachment, ignorance, and hatred. These we can consider these afflicting emotions, especially mainly the root of these afflicting emotions, can be considered our very, very old friend, most oldest friend. These are, we can consider them as our very old friend, who been with us from the very beginning of our existence. And not only these afflicting emotions are oldest friend, but they are also most closest friends. And without these afflictive emotions or closest friend, we will have difficulty killing our time, spending our time. You might feel loneliness. You can analyze it. You might find yourself lonely without having these close friends and oldest friends. So, I can say this based on my own experience. So based on his own experience, when he was young, he was very, very hard-tempered. Gets angry very easily. And kind of selfish. If he compare himself to when he was young, then he can say that I'm much. I freed myself from anger. I freed myself from hard temperament, and I'm less I'm much more selfless, free from much more free from selfishness. He's saying this because it is fact. It is fundamental fact that if one try to fight or overcome our afflicting emotion, then that is he can guarantee that you can overcome your afflicting emotions. When you are in the process, when you are in the process of trying to overcome your afflicting emotions, you have to maintain, you have to continue, you have to try to overcome or minimize the afflicting emotion continuously in your daily life for a long time. It can't be pacified or overcome in a short time. The reason you have to try to overcome afflicting emotion continuously, because without putting continuously constant effort, without putting constant effort in overcoming afflicting emotion, afflicting emotion is not something that you can grab it from your heart, from your body, and dump it in the trash can. It's not something like that. It requires continuous practice, continuous effort to get it from. It's not something you can grab it and dump in the trash can or get it from. And if you study it, it's almost like it's almost like that afflicting emotion would say that I am the owner of you. I'm the owner of you. Your own being, and you can't get it from me. It's the power of the afflicting emotion that residing within our mind. It would be like I'm the owner of your own being. You can't get it from me without putting effort continuously to get it from. It's in the process when we are trying to overcome the afflicting emotion. First of all, that we need to know or we need to do is we must be able to identify those afflicting emotions. And also we have to understand the negative aspects of those afflicting emotions whenever they arise in our mind. We have to discover the negative aspects of those afflicting emotions. Now, first we have to identify the afflicting emotion. Second, you have to be able to discover the negative aspect of these afflicting emotions whenever they arise in your mind.
제가 생리 차고 생각들은 상보단 연바 뭐고요. 제가 생리 차고 생각이 아니 상도의 초대 간다 간다 예배 초대 간다 간다 예배 또 상도의 차고 더 뭐시야 되게 좀 쉬워져
When you study your mind, you can study about the positive aspect of your mind and negative aspect of your mind. And when you see the positive aspect of your mind, you can find or discover that so many benefits of cultivating those positive aspects of your mind, or positive emotion or positive thoughts. And when you look at the negative aspect of your mind, you will discover or find that there is a harmfulness of cultivating those negative aspect of the mind or afflicting emotion. So these are something that we have to study at the very beginning when we study our mind.
제가 상도의 차고 가시 규로도 스키운 들어와 상도 차시 규로도 스키운 들 담에는 semtö로지 시대로지 semtö고로지 semtö고지 시대지 요런데 상도 차고 지키는 거라서 나 상도 차고 가시 또 규로 끼운 데는 sem만기게 sem이야 깨안되게 만기게 아니지 수행만 되게 제대로 되게 그래서 상도 차고 등이
When you study your mind, you will find that there are some aspect of mind that as soon as they arise, some aspect of the mind, as soon as they arises, you will find yourself in peace, in more calm. You will find yourself more calmer, more in peace, more in contented, more in more impatient. So many benefits of those positive aspects. Whenever they arises, whenever they are developed through your mind. And when some aspects of your mind, when on the other hand, when some aspect of mind, you will find yourself in stress, in unrest. When you find yourself unrest, you will find yourself stress. You will find yourself that your mind is kind of elevated, kind of filled with pride, filled with kind of ego, filled with desire, that wanting something really bad, that can kind of pushing you to do certain things that can bring a negative result. So these are the things that you can find out.
다른 가족이 상로 당나죠와 치료 장장 상담이 나서 아주 상로한테 수수 상로는 수수 상로 영화하는 용어에 대조 다르다스.
And today in Geshe is saying that we will not worry about the external things or outside world. We will direct our mind, or we will direct our attention to our inside world, or inner world, or within our mind.
当年常的背景是我觉得甚至超过的上半年的看到有个有名的大学的开情有名的常的背景是我背景的事情。
Geshe will first of all Geshe will give you he will give some examples that can help us to understand the importance of studying one's mind, studying the positive and negative aspect of one's mind.
这当然呢，就每次的查下看的这个呢，每次人的查看的这个呢，这个，这里也大致性就是要老师去怎么读啊？大致性就是要老师去怎么读啊？
In our daily life, or in your daily life, whenever you wanted to do something, whenever you wanted to carry out any kind of project, any kind of plan, you first of all, if you are sensible or wise person, first of all, the thing that you would do is you would analyze the benefits of carrying on that project, and harmfulness, these kind of things that you will analyze the benefit of carrying on those projects or plans that you have in your mind.
看纽约 CD 的 강바 모다 전에 신갔다 배워도 체에다 배워다 빵다야 도와. 대 제시 도와리는 빵다 도와. 아디 도와도 도라가 빵다 지 체신 더부터 봤어. 되는 하나도 체신이다 빵을 답다 얘네야. 도스파 답도 잡아내. 다보되는 신도도 보이네. 매도도 보이네. 매도도 신도도 가르야 하도 가르도 따지시 우체체. 안신이 답도 봤어. 답사 되나야 두고디스 두고리도 답야도 파제샤. 뭐시 버치는 거. 내가 도시도 봤어. 도리도 답도 봤어. 답야도 파제샤. 대가야 요 두도 뭐 아시다. 근데 체신은 도유는 되는데 봤어. 베티나 시치. 베티나 시치 아주 섬유는 나무도 차고 들으지. 남도 뭐 싶으지. 뒤에는 상배 처리 멋이 버치. 누구의 처리 멋이 버치. 아니 누구의 처리 되는데 세야 다시 되지. 그래서 베티나 체신다 말하는 것도 봤어.
For example, when we grow flowers and vegetables, before that, at the beginning, what we would do is we would find out what are the more beneficial flowers and the vegetables, and then we will plant those flowers, those vegetables which are more beneficial, and we will discard those flowers and vegetables, the plants that can be poisonous, that can turn out into poisonous, So in other words, you will discriminate those which are beneficial, more beneficial plants, those which are harmful plants. So then by discovering, and you will discard those harmful plants, any kind of poisonous plants. And in the same way, when you study your mind, you have to do the same. You have to go through the same process. You have to be able to discriminate or distinguish between positive aspect of the mind and negative aspect of the mind, and by studying their negative consequences and their positive consequences of the positive emotions.
저는 류를 대대 요소는 류를 차셔버는 류기 나슬이야 차시 먹고 치야도 봐. 차시 붙이야도 봐. 류를 동료 차시 동료 먹고 치야도 봐. 되는 시스템을 차고 되려야 시작도 먹고 치야 돼 그래서.
If you study your own body, you can separate the body into countless the countless entity. Makes sense? Entity, countless. You can divide the body into countless countless parts. Countless parts. In the same way, when you study your mind, it can be divided into so many. It can be categorized into so many different types of minds, I should say.
근데도 고도 충주만 돼 말이야. 고도 충주만 돼 말이야. 큰나는 대가 삼부스에 차고디 배추는 쇼모토모도 주어서 오늘지.
And of course, if you look at our head is very small, object. It's just one small round, like a ball. But if you study your mind, it is very, very wide and profound. It's something you might think that it's not something that can be contained within this small head. That can be kept or contained with this in this small head.
내가 삼류 캐소로 생기도 봐. 삼류 캐소들 랭이 이제 통해지 중소나 나 메들은 남주지 미스라 그래서.
In general, we can say someone is wise person, or a smart or wise person, if he or she is able to distinguish between negative and positive aspects of the mind. One who is able to distinguish between his or her positive or negative aspects of the mind, then he or she can be considered or say wise person.
된 남주시. 근데 나 시대에서는 생리 나로야 즉 예배 차도 가나 용목스라 그래요. Same in Australia. Quang gyuru do ski on the Quang do ski on the monkey, but Mate, but I'm ashamed that she's protected around and Shannon and Raji, even some of my charge Limudona, what then is similar, you move. You move
when we talk about the afflictive emotion, or I should say, when we define afflictive emotion, we can how we define. If you say like how we define afflictive emotion, then in general we can say that any kind of emotion, whenever any kind of emotion arises, if that emotion afflicts your mind, if that emotion disturbs your mind, agitates your mind, and makes you feel uncomfortable, stress, unrest, and also it's kind of going to cause or harm, going to inflict harm upon others, such as thinking or bad about people and so forth. That these kind of emotions are considered, can be categorized as afflictive emotions.
You say the children within this year. That tender within the Nancy Pachana, Tanazone, Navation, you won't get the shape.
And this is how we define in general the afflictive emotions. But in the scripture, we find that they talk about 84,000 afflictive emotions that arises within our mind. 84,000 afflictive emotions that arise within our mind. So we are tortured and suffered by these 84,000 afflictive emotions that we don't have complete awareness. Then when we talk about these afflictive emotions, we can talk about so many levels of afflictive emotion, starting from very, very coarse form of afflictive emotion, and then becoming more subtle form of afflictive emotions.
저는 유무의 가시는 들어봐. 신에다 활동 통해. 아니 치료가 상대 것이 통해요. 치료가. 치료가 그 상대 것이 통해. 즉 러시무유가 가토야 되는 문제들 제야 이거랬어. 유무라 슈도 되지.
The
신에다 유네 딱 근데 치는 투무기 아니 님고 된 투사기. 치바다 넘버 청문기 러시 되는지 님고지. 빵 러시무유가 가토야 되는 문제들이 무슨 아까 되지. 신에다 활동 거대 통해. 아니 상대 것이 좀 and Chinaniga that the Genta we can talk about some grosser form of mind, more grosser or coarser form of afflictive emotions that can be kind of eliminated, that can be kind of suppressed, I should say, or eliminated, temporarily eliminated, not completely forever, but temporarily eliminated. Through the meditation, through the practice of meditation, such as single-pointed meditation and analytical meditation, which help us achieve wisdom or realizing emptiness. So through this form of practice, meditation practice, we can overcome our grosser form of afflictive emotions temporarily, not forever. 떠도 되는 공부고요 말했어. 나와도 돼. 근데 떠도 되는 공부고 유무하나 까도 그랬어. 신의 하던 공부요. This grosser form of afflictive emotion can be eliminated temporarily through the practice of meditation only. You don't need to have the support of very profound philosophical view or very profound philosophical understanding in order to be able to develop philosophical insight, I should say. Philosophical view, you don't need to cultivate very philosophical insight in order to overcome those grosser form of afflictive emotions. They can be eliminated merely by the practice of
single body meditation and some form of lower form of analytical meditation or spiritual insight.
그냥 떠도도 되는 저 신문주가 까고 문제를 줘야지. 떠도도 되는 공점이야 까고 문제. 뒤에 용어들이 안 될 때 차지 그랬어.
When we try to overcome afflictive emotions, if the method is supported by profound philosophical insight, and then we are able to overcome more subtle form of afflictive emotions. So in other words, more subtle form of afflictive emotion can be eliminated by the help of course, by the help of meditation, practice of meditation, as well as it needs to be supported by profound philosophical insight.
다 뒤에는 용어들이 무슨 시다 때 칸도 싶었어. 용어참 때 칸도 다. 다들 떠도도 되는 까대 용어도 봤어. 뒤 용어들 되게 가면 용어들이 때 차지 그랬어.
These subtle form of afflictive emotions is more subtle. That's why it's more difficult for us to identify and more difficult for us to eliminate.
그냥 떠도도 되는 용어 방해야 되려야 아니 남배 주다 마음 시기 용어였어.
So when we talk about the method that can help us overcome more subtle form of afflictive emotions, and then it can be we can see the different types of method, different types of means spoken by four different major Buddhist schools, 4 different major Buddhist tenets. Is it clear? The methods are different methods. We can find different methods, at least 4 different methods to overcome those subtle afflictive emotions. Those 4 different methods are spoken by 4 major tenets, 4 major philosophical tenets, or 4 major philosophical Buddhist school.
저는 용어문제 재단들이야 처럼 보여래. 다른 것이 용어문제 되는 빵빵 들이야 처럼 보여랬어.
There are so many.
탕문에 처럼 보여랬어.
There are different levels of methods that can help us identify those different levels of subtle afflictive emotions, and also there are different levels of methods that can help us overcome those different levels of afflictive emotions.
제가 제자마에 떠도도 되고 보는 용어 방다디 아주 남배쇼는 저는 방다라 휴지했어.
When we talk about the Nimora
방다라 휴지.
When we talk about tenets of Buddhist school, we can talk about 4 different Buddhist school or 4 different Buddhist tenets. One which is the lowest Buddhist, which is considered or known as regarded as the lowest Buddhist tenet school, is known as Vibhashika Buddhist tenets, Vibhashika Buddhist school. The way in which they describe the method of overcoming those afflictive emotions are considered more easy form of method that can help us overcome those afflictive emotions more easier way.
딱 텔레 도대백이 떠도도 되는 용어 방다디 텔레 때 차지. 양 샘sam바게 텔레야 차지. 아니 오마라디백이 양 텔레 차지. 아니 탄주에다 떠도도 되는 용어 방다디 다 차지.
And also, if you study the methods that can help us overcome, that can help us be able to overcome those subtle form of afflictive emotions, you can find out the methods spoken by the Swatantrika school, which is 1 step higher than the Vibhashika school, and then you can also find out or discover the methods spoken by the mind-only school, which is considered one more step higher than the Swatantrika school, and then we can talk about the methods spoken by the Madhyamika school to overcome those subtle emotions, which is considered highest method, or more subtle method, more subtle method. And when we talk about mathematical school, we can talk about the highest, the most subtle method is method spoken by the Prasangika school, which is considered one of the highest school of Buddhist tenets. So those methods, so in other words, what Geshe is saying that we can see we have so many different levels of methods to overcome different levels of subtle emotions, subtle afflictive emotions.
다들 땅에 다리 가르치게 해서는 지난 나베 쇼네 저는 용고 차로 도탄데 되지 요를 자치 못되지 요레스 땅에 다리 가르치는 나랑주 지 무진 제 투야지 나주 수수세 무진 제 투야지 네 용모티가 한테들 제역이 되지
Geshe is saying that if we try to get deeper into these kind of studies, and it might create confusion for you at this time. So he like to talk more about in general. He will talk about the methods that can help us identify grosser form of afflictive emotion, and the method that can help us overcome our grosser form of afflictive emotions.
뒤에 당나도 지단도 용모지 세바이나 되샤스 지도가 단유 주세시 단유 주다 문제 유수도 세게시 얘네 단유 주 세대 그런 민도도 되샤다 콘도다 아제도 슬라고 됐어 얘네 공무제 지단도 다 처럼 쉬우지 좋다도 좋다도 쉬우지 됐어 띵을 못이라요 되샤스가 얘네야 되샤 코로나에 처럼 콘도 슬라고 콘도 코로나 처럼 얘네 다 들은 얘들이 되샤다 콘도의 기본 등식이
So if we talk about afflictive emotion in general, we can talk about 6 root afflictive emotion. We say 6 root afflictive emotion. Also, we can talk about in issue 20 secondary afflictive emotion. They call it 20 secondary afflictive emotions. And also there are many other afflictive emotions. But today Geshe will talk more about the 6 root afflictive emotions, and for example, starting from attachment. 6 root afflictive emotions are first is attachment. When we talk about attachment, we can talk about different levels of attachment, different form of attachment, and also we can talk about hatred. Let's say hatred is one of the 6 root afflictive emotions. So when we talk about hatred, we can also talk about different forms or different levels of hatred as well. So it can be said to the rest of the 6 rest of the afflictive emotion as well.
당연히 넣어야 되는 건 가시시 있어. 여샤스 그 모두 가르치는 것을라나 그런 유럽지. 내주도 나서 무슨 버지 되게 있어. 내 여샤스 모두 되도록 내주도 나서 무슨 버지 있어. 내주도 나서 무슨 배나 여샤스 라마이 여샤스 개비는 강도 차바께서 유주로 강도 차바께서 유대가 유도 원시 증거했어. 유도 원시 증거 유도 원한디 뭐에서 메테는 하고 좁다는 짓이 되겠어.
So if I talk about if we talk about afflictive emotions such as attachment, and you have to know how to identify the attachment. Attachment is the emotion, the emotion that perceive the object, the quality of the object, that perceive the quality of the object out of exaggeration. It's kind of whenever the attachment, in other words, whenever attachment arises in our mind, we kind of exaggerates the quality of the object of our attachment. We exaggerates the quality of the object of our attachment, such as any kind of, let's say, flower, let's say any kind of attractive things, males or females. We always attachment always kind of exaggerates the objects of the quality of the object of its
일단 아주 여샤스죠. 당연 노래를 가실 수 있어요. 여샤다 아니 저원이 노래는 것이죠.
Geshe is saying that he will classify between some form of similar emotions. Let's say, for example, attachment and love. There is possibility that we can misunderstand between the meaning of attachment and love. The love and attachment, love and attachment. The meaning of the love and attachment.
소소의 파마다 빈자다 봐. 나 소소의 파마를 예 빈자를 내 소소의 사파를 소소의 도고를 도모를 저도 먹고는 내가 아주 단데 내에 저와시도 봤어. 저도 패치에 되셔야 될 저와했어.
So the love that we develop or we cultivate, or we extend towards our parents, towards our relatives, towards our friends, towards our life partner, and so forth. These are the attachment. These are love. Love. These are love stained, I should say. These are the loves kind of stained by attachment. Stained makes sense to you? It's kind of stained by attachment. Or influence. It's kind of influenced by attachment or stained by attachment.
제가 저 왔을 때 그런 넘유를 찾아봐야는 수수는 인이 왜 넘유를 주어야지. 식생단이 왜 넘유를 수수 인이 왜 넘유를 주어야지. 얘는 여자기 타가와 지게들라는 건 예배 단계 시작했어. 아니 인직이 상부 단계 그랬어.
The difference between the attachment and love or compassion, you can say, the attachment kind of whenever the attachment arises within our mind, it kind of appears as very pleasant. It kind of appears as very close friend, someone who is very close to you. Whenever attachment arises within your mind, you can find that it appears as someone who is very close to you. Kind of very pleasing or very close to you. But if you strengthen it, if you strengthen it or further it or cultivate it, then of course it will finally somehow lead to pain and suffering. Makes sense to you? On the other hand, love and compassion is and love and compassion. And on the other hand, whenever love and compassion arises, pure love and compassion, love and compassion that we study in the text, it arises within our mind, and then it will somehow lead to the happiness at the end. Also, we can talk about the positive or negative aspect of the anger as well. Both anger also. We can't, in other words, we can't say anger is completely negative. We can look at it from we can look at its positive aspect as well as its negative aspect as well.
Today is control. This is not Geshe. Not Geshe. I think the number of control, which is simple number. Not Geshe simple number. So the not Geshe simple number is the four percent. Yes, simple number. Yang ngaji dan pokok ni kalau simple number yang ada yang berapa, pokok sendiri jualan dia pasti. Ngaji sendiri jualan yang
mana? When we talk about pride, I should say pride and what else? Egoistic. Someone who has a very high ego, always talk about himself, praise himself, think very highly of himself, and and also we can talk about that the emotion which is quite similar to the pride, which is quite similar to the egoistic, such as self-confidence. Self-confidence.
혼인지가 simple number yang ada. Ini pokok lagi, ani terus sambung jitu. Then
confidence. I'm losing my concentration. Confidence and pride. Let's say pride on the one hand, confidence on the other hand. they are kind of you can see kind of similarity in the sense that both emotions have kind of elevated, inflated opinion of oneself, right? Inflated opinion of oneself. But the pride, the pride is developed without having any reason, without reason, without having any valid reason. It is kind of baseless. But on the other hand, the confidence is kind of is developed out of valid reason. It's kind of it does have its own base to have that kind of confidence in oneself.
당한 아시는 모두를 쌤 흉대게 주고 그랬어요. 쌤 흉대게 주다가 란식이 킹중대 이유 그랬어요. 사실 란식이 메세 반영 중치게 주고 란식이 상반영 중치게 되는 저다 야쌤 흉대게 이유 봐. 군인이가 넘줄래 가는 줄라는 야 직쌤 지 완전 샤되는 거죠. 통마we. 얘네야 군인이 이렇게 보시라 그랬어요.
You can also study yourself or study other people, and you can find out or you can see that some people their innate quality is to be humble. They are humble. They are very very humble. That's humbleness. Humility is out of their innate nature. Their innate nature. They do it intentionally. They are humble out of intention, out of intention. But there are some people you might see they are kind of they have become they are like they have developed a sense of helpless, and then desperate or helpless. I should say helpless. They have lost hope. They have lost hope. And they become so kind of down to the earth. They become very down to the earth. In other words, they think they are nothing. They are not worthy of anything. You might humbleness, humility, and this kind of other thing is kind of you might see kind of difference. You might see some similarity, but there is very much different. The humble or humility on the one hand is developed intentionally. It's done intentionally, with our innate nature, good nature. But on the other hand, it's happened out of desperate situation, out of some misfortunate things that happen in their life, out of bad luck or something, sort of some disaster or certain things. People, you will see stay kind of being depressed, I should say, in that sense. So, but there are a lot of differences.
쌤 흉대게 되기 저거 가야 진도 말했어요. 쌤 장식 킹중에 되기 저거 선거 진도 그랬어요.
She came to me.
그래서 킹중되게 저거 선거 되기 저거 선거 진도 그랬어요. 쌤 흉대게 장식 저거 진도 말했어요.
Someone who is humble, who maintains humility, who lives, who behaves, who is humble out of innate nature, out of intention or intentionally, and then his or her attitude of humble will lead will give rise good result. Will benefit himself or herself. The humbleness, the attitude, humble, humility that one possesses will give rise good result. Will benefit himself or herself. But on the other hand, someone who develops a sense of hopeless or become helpless, and become being depressed. And then that kind of down to earth attitude, keeping oneself down to earth attitude, will never give rise good result. Will never benefit himself or herself. In other words, will never benefit himself.
다른 사실 저기 때문에 되지 생각도 봤어. 나세지. 다그 단위로 나세지. 나세야 될 야 찬이 그랬어. nga se de ko nga zin sto wa de le yan chanye sa ni ga
when we talk about the self, the self-cherishing mind, I should say, when we talk about self, also we can talk about two forms of self-cherishing mind or self-egoistic. We can talk about two forms of self-cherishing mind or self-egoistic.
ko ji nye de ma jena at ji ma de sa nye ma jena ma che nye ma jena mo sa ji nye simple na sa nye shen tu de che a sa ji na ji ko sto pas de ma ya de sa na ji lo ya
The self that develops the emotion, that develops the feeling, the self-cherishing mind or self-egoistic, that develops the feeling or emotion that says, oh, I have to do this, do that, to benefit myself, to benefit others. I must be able to do this for the society, for the family. Starting from family, I must be able to do this for the country, for the society, for the people. These kind of self-egoistic, self-grasping. I should say, self-grasping is okay. Self-grasping can be considered kind of positive form of self-grasping. That's something that we need to cultivate. We need to have in order for that can play the role of that can impel us. That can impel us to do good things. For others.
다 랑드 그리 치도 신다 답시 당이 주고 봐. 진짜 내가 해서 진짜 내가 어디 야게 말이지. 내가 누가 되는 누가 되지.
The self-grasping, which can be considered completely negative, is the self-grasping that cultivates, that develops in order to harm other people, in order to afflict harm other, in order to afflict harm to other people in the process of fulfilling one's own interests, in the process of fulfilling one's own wishes. Then that kind of self-grasping is completely negative self-grasping. It's something that one must try to eliminate. I think this is one that self-grasping is we often do. The mean really bad people. I should say, I don't know the bad people. Some very selfish people you can see in the society. They are able to, or they are able to cause problem or harm to other people in the process of fulfilling one's own interests, one's own wishes. Because why they do this? Because they have very strong self-grasping mind, very negative self-grasping mind. So this visualizing, this is completely negative emotion. When we talk about aspiration, we can also talk about positive aspiration as well as negative aspiration. Aspiration, which is developed out of valid reason, will give rise to positive result. And aspiration developed out of invalid reason, out of negative emotion, and then that will of course give rise to lead to problem, lead to pain and suffering. Maybe I can say the negative aspiration, the antidote against those negative aspiration is what we call contentment. The contentment is the best antidote to overcome those negative aspirations.
소화는 무엇을 두고 진행하는 게
These the afflictive emotions are in our daily life. If you study your mind and attitude, you will find this afflictive emotion arises very often in our mind, and then that impose us engage in a negative action, and then kind of forcing us to engage in a negative action. So these are something that we have to pay attention and identify these afflictive emotions.
다 지나는 두상당을 와서다. 콘으로 지난 거 이런 내심 되게 봐. 내심 되게 콘은 버리고 내심 되게 봤어. 난 콘으로 지나도 버리고 내심 되게 내심 생에 되게 콘을 잡고 상부 지연 따와니는 게 되게.
Whenever we get angry, whenever we get angry, whenever we develop anger, immediately what happens? As a result, we will develop the emotion known as harmful intention, right? As soon as anger arises, as a result, we develop the harmful intentions, and then of course, harmful intention will never give rise. There's no way that it can, give rises happiness. It can give rises benefits to anybody, neither to oneself to others.
다가나시 되샤게 나도야 시. 우준료비에 대해 나도를 참고시고 집에 손아지고 됐어.
Actually, in fact, the attachment is always harmful to oneself and to others. But you might see it, but it appears as someone who is kind of trying to benefit you, who is someone trying to fulfilling your interests, someone who is trying to fulfilling your wishes.
제신 아제스 그죠. 아제스도 소소를 잡으시고 신경을 통고 그랬어요.
And also the pride, the negative pride, I should say, the negative pride. It appears. You might see it as someone who is always supporting you, who wants to support you all the time, kind of backbone, kind of playing the role of backbone, supporting you. That's kind of how it appears.
제가 다디 나도 최케 렘만에 계속 말했어. 나도 매일매일 찌다는 날이야. 코는 늘 치고 싶고 지금 그랬어.
And
최이네 계속 말했어.
the negative results of these afflictive emotion, negative result or harmfulness of this afflictive emotion is experienced by everybody. Whether or not they believe in Dharma, or whether or not they believe in religion or Buddhist Dharma or any kind of religion. These the negative results of these negative emotions are experienced by all living beings in their life.
다 된다고 나도 내 다시는 그러나 나도 최케 렘만에 수인에 나도 정부를 뒤가 차고도 나도 차야게 되게 중국도 무슨 소도선도 되게 중국 소도선데 최대지 벤조지 봐 하는 수수 가로다 사상도 되지 대미지 되나가 되게 중국도 무슨 소도선도 대수가 그네고 그랬어
single
다 되지 공부시니까 공부다 내선다 되셔서 그속이 아주 되게 중국 송부들이야 근데 내가
세대지
아주 되게 중국 송부들 소리는 최대지 다가나시 벤조제 다가나시 소소 사상도 좋고 가고 그 송들은 매 되게 중국 그 송부들라 고들려면
So in our daily life, that is the case with every living beings. Of course, for humans as well. In order to achieve the happiness and peace and satisfaction and so forth, which is a fundamental aspiration of all living beings, are fulfilled or can be fulfilled by three main factors. Or Geshe is using the soda, that means factory. It's like an example. Factory, such as it's like sanitation, or health sanitation, and the wealth, the money and properties and wealth, and also the company, the friends. These are the three main. He's using the term of soda, that means factory, or the factors, I should say. are the source of our happiness, source of our joy, source of our peace, and that we can be happy of it, as if we have these the factors intact. But by cultivating these afflictive emotions will always, by cultivating these afflictive emotions, we will damage these three factors. If we cultivate these afflictive emotions, then in other words, what we are doing is we are damaging any one of these factors, which are the source of our happiness, which are the source for us to achieve happiness.
아주 최대한 하는 것은 다 공으로 생각하는 거다. 대샤서 나게 생각하는 거. 최대한 가서 배우거나. 지단 모두 최대한 승부 최대한 류구 최대한 승부 최대한 네가 이랬어. 류구 최대한 승부 최대한 이랬어. 제가 최대한에서 저 zaman 류가 승부 최대한 네가 라래 공으로 류구 이랬어. 대샤서 공으로 나게 류구 이랬어.
So let's say for example when we talk about health or sanitation, in order for us to be able to live a very healthy life, or very long life, I should say, we have to have very good health, good sanitation and good health. So these afflictive emotions, such as attachment, anger, and hatred, these afflictive emotions directly inflicts harm within our inner world, mind, as well as physical well-being. It harms our mental well-being as well as it harms to our physical well-being. When we talk about health of ourselves, we have to talk about not only physical health, but we have to talk about our mental health. And this afflictive emotion harms to our mental well-being, or mental health, as well as it harms to our physical health, or physical well-being.
용모도 심교도 스키온도 자만에 심으로도 마시워지고 심으로 좀 마시워지게 아니 룰룽당도 심어마지고 참 룽당도 슈 룽당도 소고 최대한 내지요 룽쇼 아니 칼라가 좋아하면 이해만 아 대두야 방법을 방도 만들고 아니 드르드르 소고를 최대한 내지고 그랬어.
As soon as afflictive emotion arises, such as anger within our mind, and then it immediately, as a result, what happens? It causes imbalance within our bodies, within the body, and it kind of disturbs the order of the body system, and it kind of disturbs the flow of the breath, and that definitely causes the sickness, leads to or causes sickness, and we become unhealthy physically.
제가 룰을 최대한 대보다 기우야고 오거든요. 암지장장 때문에 해요 말했어. 암지장장 때문에 말했어. 암지장장 때문에 말했어. 수수수 섬을 나오고 섬을 땅다 섬을 키워서 지금 돈이야. 최대한 다다 하려 그랬어.
So that's why Geshe was saying, if you want to have a very strong physical health, very good health, very sound health, you don't have to rely on doctor, only. You don't have to rely on the doctor only. You don't rely on the doctor. You also rely on your own mind. It makes a very big difference in your to have your physical well-being. It can make a lot of big difference to shape your physical health. In other words, what he's saying that the doctor cannot, or medicine cannot provide complete physical health. In order to have physical health, sound health, you have to be able to shape your mind. And then it can have very strong effect that can help you have strong health, physical health.
생류 최대한 라데네 네팔 인슈런스 대해서 봐. 이 인슈런스 야로 말했어.
And then you don't have to worry about the insurance, health insurance. You don't have to spend a lot of money if you can maintain your mind. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Here in the West, he's happened to see people spend a lot of money for their body or health, paying insurance and so many things. So you don't, if you are able to maintain your mind, and keep it in control and in good shape, then you don't have to spend too much money, waste too much money for your health, physical health.
다 나가는 시 용무도 변조를 시라는 거지. 매 대기 용무 숨 이바도 소리 이바도 변조이 봐. 다 변조를 용무도 쉬운 거지.
Also, afflictive emotion will really harm a lot to the economy. Just to the economy. The afflictive emotion will also harm to our economy, which is one source of our happiness.
아 변조를 여기 봐. 근데 나도 콘도 쓰는데 나나 수수 잘라야 돼.
So this is here's one small example that when you as soon as you develop anger, sometimes you might see people who gets angry, become very angry, and then you will see him or her destroying his or her most valued object as well. They kind of hit on the floor and kind of break into pieces. Let's say the tape or tape recorder, camera, if it doesn't work in a way that you want him to work. And then he immediately gets angry and kind of hit on the floor and breaks it into pieces. So this is also one small example of the destructive nature of the afflictive emotions such as anger.
이만한테 저 군대 주시거든. 별로 주셨다만에 다 군대 주시고 별로 주셨다만에 모라 당해줘 그랬어. 가지 그랬어. 가지. 베베까지 모라 당해면 고마라지 그랬어. 짠하게 지금 고마라지.
When his son, he's going to tell a brief story about that relates with the topic that we're discussing. Vishala said when his son is the 14th Dalai Lama, when he was back in Tibet in his palace known as Potala, and there was the Congress.
가지. 베베까지. 여름
His always had the driver, and he's actually Muslim. He's a Muslim guy. He used to drive for his soulness at the time. He's a very, very hot-tempered person.
군대에 못했다 뭐야 페브리오 많이 했는데 그래서 오래서 뭐라 그래서 그런 예단식만 듣다보면 그 고대 마음이 이게 짜도 도움을 되듯이 뭐라 오들 도움 뭐 공도선 야 너무 많이 하셔서 그런
And sometime he find his car or in a vehicle is not working, and I guess he's kind of mechanic as well, so he lies down under the vehicle like you see people do, and then trying to fix things, and somehow when I guess he got a big head or something, he often happened to hit on to something under the car or vehicle, and then whenever he happened to hit his head on any kind of machine, engine part of the machine, and then he gets angry then he go and then he gets angry to the vehicle. He gets very angry to the vehicle, and then he kind of hit again and again, and then as a result he damages his head and sheds a lot of blood on his head. In other words, he has such strong anger. Whenever he's angry, he can't control himself. Even though he's ready to, he can risk he can damage his own head, which is valued very much when he's in the sense.
아니,